What you know about rolling down in the deep when your brain goes numb?
Call me biased because this happened to my husband, but hear me out. So an ad came up on his Facebook for a cell phone company that was giving donations to women's shelters. Listen closely to his comment. He said, "Wow, it's great to see good causes like this being supported by big companies. It would be great to see the men's shelters supported as well so that we can create an equal dialogue." Super positive, super fair, super non-dismissive, and frankly, he's right. He was promptly attacked by women telling him to go cry about it, go put on a dress and sleep in the street in the rain and see how it feels. I don't think they realized who they were talking to or how much it hurt. He's been homeless. He was kicked out at 17 and he's been on his own ever since. He's a recovered drug addict who has spent many nights on the streets. And guess what? There was nowhere for him to go because women's shelters are everywhere, but you are hard-pressed to find one that will take a man, especially a 17-year-old boy. So he's coming from a place of full understanding of the needs for these resources, and he has every right to ask for equality in that. And he was met with absolutely no understanding in return. If this is the kind of equality women want, count me out.
Being privileged is being able to sit at home in America and tweet from your iPhone about how oppressed you are because people don't know your correct gender pronoun. Meanwhile, in other countries, at the age of 6 years old, they're sent to mine cobalt so that you can have that lithium battery in your iPhone to tweet about how oppressed you are.
So I consider myself to be an anti-feminist because the modern day feminism movement attacks everything that it means to be a woman. They don't want to empower women for the things that make us different and special, like being able to give birth and raise kids. They don't even want to consider that a quality of a woman, but of a birthing person instead. Also, I don't hate all men, and I don't think that's cute, and I don't think it's funny, and I think the war on men is actually really disgusting. That being said, I don't think of myself as a victim. I don't think I'm oppressed because of my gender. I think I have the same rights as men, and if you have any ideas of what rights I don't have that men do, be sure to leave that in the comments. I'm pro-women, anti-feminist.
A man taking advantage of a woman when she's drunk is so wrong. Oh, I totally agree. And I mean, it's so wrong when women do it to men too. Taking advantage of a man when he's drunk, financial domination, trying to appeal to his porn addiction or sex addiction, you know, to get a little extra cash. It's really sad.
By now, I'm pretty sure we've all seen the 97% of women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime videos. Whether that statistic is true or not, we will disregard for the purpose of this video. Let's assume it's true. When men say not all men are, I don't think they're trying to disregard the issue that is clearly at hand. I think men just don't want to be classified as racists who are genuinely good men. Nor should we be classifying all men as racists or most men as racists or enough men as racists. We need to be standing with men against racists, not against men because of. We're creating division right now. This is ridiculous. We need to stand together, not tear ourselves apart.
Women who falsely accuse men of should be prosecuted to the full extent and receive the same sentence as a.
Have you ever watched a woman at a bar hit on a man and get turned down? You want to talk about not having self-control? Try a woman getting turned down. I've seen women become violent and angry and rude, all because a guy turns her down. You want to talk about not having self-control? You ever seen women grab up on men at the bar? The guy's uncomfortable and tells them to stop, and they keep going because it's flirtatious and cute when they're assaulting him? Flip the other side, and a man did that, people will be all over him and throwing him out.
So you know how women always preach that narrative that men hate women? Here's some statistics for you. I started this week off at about 17% women following my page. As of today, I'm at 13% of women are following my page out of that 14,000 number that you see on the top of my page. So the more that I speak on men and equal rights for men, less women followers I have. But yet, men hate women. Right.
Feminist women be like, women should be free to do whatever they want. Oh yeah? Well, what about women with conservative values? What about women who choose to stay at home and raise their own children and be homemakers instead of boss babes? What about women who don't want to be Miss Independent? I don't even know, man. What about those?
No! No! No!
Who wants to work full time, then come home, take care of a house and kids, no wonder you're all miserable.
Why are we still pretending that women make less for the same job as men do? Because of misogyny. Now, yes, the national average is higher for men than versus women, but that's because men typically choose higher paying career paths, are more aggressive or more competitive when it comes to getting raises. And women, on average, tend to choose lower paying jobs or jobs that they enjoy more that tend to pay less. I know, because I'm one of them. I want to be an editor. I'm never going to make as much as an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer. Or even a plumber. And when it comes to working the same job, women just aren't as competitive. They also tend to work fewer hours, and they take a lot more time off for kids. That's going to lead to less experience and so less pay raises. Be more competitive, choose a higher paying job field. And for the love of all that is good, stop complaining.
I have no feminism left in my body.
I think men are better than women.
She's kidding.
No, I'm not. They provide for us, and we must obey them because they are our masters.
Women love to quote the false statistic that the reason we don't have birth control for men is because the men who were in the study couldn't handle the side effects. It's their way of trying to say why men are trash and women are superior and we bear the burden of birth control. Let's shed a little light on the actual truth of that birth control study. That study took place in 2016 amongst 375 healthy men. Yes, some men did drop out of the study because of the side effects, a whopping 20. We only focus on those 20 because it furthers our agenda. The real reason that particular birth control study didn't come to fruition is because it was halted by an independent safety review panel, because that particular injectable birth control was leaving men permanently infertile against their will, and in one case, a man died.
Alright, I did want to respond to this comment really quickly because liberal views are all about science. Let's believe in science. So if this holds true, then you have to agree with me that a man has an XY chromosome, whereas a woman has an XX chromosome. Therefore, our chemical makeup is actually going to be different from each other depending on our gender. And that science is not going to change because your feelings are hurt. Therefore, you are actually taking away equality of women and men by putting biological men back into women's sports because they have a physical advantage over women. You have to agree with me there, right?
Unaccompanied minors seeking asylum, you can stay. Forcing families to send their children to the border alone, therefore...
As a Latina, as an immigrant, as somebody who's gone through the process myself, as somebody who's had family go through the dehumanizing process that Biden and Obama built, ignorant people like you are the reason this continues to happen. Instead of addressing the truth, you care more about virtual signaling on social media and spreading misinformation. So these problems will never be addressed because you won't even acknowledge the problems. It's true, some of these kids are sent by their parents alone. The great majority of these kids, the ones that are held for longer than 48 hours, are held because they can't locate their parents, because the adult they were traveling with was trafficking them. Biden and Obama had no problem returning these kids to their traffickers. Because Trump issued DNA tests, these kids were not returned to their traffickers and were held for longer than 48 hours. And you could foster these kids under the Trump administration. You just don't know that because you don't care about the issue. The reason these kids are being trafficked is because they're used to make it appear like family units when they're crossing the border. And then they're sexually trafficked in America. An influx of illegal immigration means that more of these kids are trafficked. Congratulations, you encourage this.
When did the whole killing an innocent child because you can't take responsibility for your actions become a right? And I also don't support the movement Kill All Men. And I don't preach that porn is an uplifting resort for men. And I don't support the single motherhood rate that's shooting up because the government is teaching women that we just need welfare to be happy and have a family. And if you call yourself a modern day feminist and you say that you love all women, you need a reality check because you only love the women who have the exact same mindset as you. You're not pro-women and you're not pro-America. You're pro-stripping America from all of its traditional values and pushing modern day liberalism on everyone, which is the real pandemic.
The other day I was at Target and I was looking for clothes for my son. I was in the toddler section and I saw two shirts side by side. One of them was pink and it said, "The future is female." And the one next to it was for boys and it said, "Goofy guy." And I just have to say, this idea that the future is female is such a load of crap. I don't know if you guys missed biology class, but in order for there to be any kind of future at all, there needs to be females and males. And I just hate this whole idea that we're teaching children, by the way, that it's a battle between men and women, who can make the most money, who can be more successful, who can run the world. It's not like that at all. The truth is, we work together. And that is how we build a successful future, and that's what we need to be teaching our children.
If I beat it, I ain't wearing a Johnny. Adiola when I roll with a Yeezy. Just hit me on the lifestyle, sweetheart.
You know what's so sad is how many women, especially feminists, walk around and say, oh, men are so privileged. It must be so great to be a man. Yeah, it must be so great. Does nobody give a shit about your feelings? Nobody. And when you have a woman that steps up to try to speak for men's issues, oh man, society will just start to treat her the exact same way that they treat men. They'll start to make false allegations about her. They'll take down their social media. They'll silence her. Meanwhile, praising the toxic women that are doing harmful shit in society. And I think that this is frustrating for me. Men live this every single day. As a woman, I have somewhat of a right to complain. But men, as soon as they say, hey, this is bullshit, they're just bitching. They're soft. They have little dick energy, right? Nah, man, it must fucking suck to be a guy. You know why? Because nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares about you if you're a guy. It's garbage.